Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice, Simple Steps for Showing Up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host. Man, am I so grateful to be here. For those watching, we're all new once again. Holy cow. This is the third time that I've done this studio in my basement. Got some more lights, got a new background. I finally got some chairs that work and some side tables that work and some microphone arms that work, so I'm not holding my mic. I love talking with my hands, so I feel free, right? I feel alive. I feel moving forward. And that's the thing, moving forward. It's movement. I was listening to a podcast this morning with Deion Sanders. Holy cow, Coach Prime. He is such a stud, and he had made a mention talking about the adversary and hunting. He said, in hunting, it's very, very difficult to hit a moving target. If you're trying to hunt, bow, rifle, whatever, it's quite difficult to hit a moving target. Now, if you are the target for the adversary, it is very difficult to hit if you're moving. Very easy to hit if you're stagnating, if you're sitting still. In Scripture, if you look across in Scripture, I may have spoke about this on this podcast. I don't remember. In Scripture, whenever God's people sit still, wherever they settle down and hunker down and don't do much, that's when they typically begin sinning. They begin sinning once they stop moving. But when they're moving, they become righteous again. Isn't that interesting? Just like life. In movement, there is life. In stagnation, there is death. Because in stagnation, things just stop moving. Your blood has to flow for you to live. Movement has to happen for life. Welcome to life. And on that topic, I've really thought about the conversation of dirty action versus perfect procrastination. Perfect action, but that yields to the ultimate procrastination, right? Dirty action yields results. And with those results, you can pivot. Just like this podcast studio. I had a space, and then I lost a space, and then I had a space, and then I lost a space, and then I had a space, and then I lost a space. Now I have a space to which I actually own said space. It's in my basement, and we converted one of our guest bedrooms. We're putting a Murphy bed on the wall so it can still be used as a bedroom, but this is a full-blown podcast studio that we will be renting out for others to use. It is a ready-to-use, done-for-you podcast. You can change the lights however you want for your branding. Super cool. And I'm so grateful and so blessed to be able to do it and to bless others with the opportunity to use really high quality stuff. High quality audio, high quality mics, high quality cameras, high quality lights, all the things needed to produce your best work. Now, they won't make the podcast successful, but they will help you produce your best work. Having proper tools available to you makes it possible to do your best work. But that doesn't mean you have to wait until you have those tools. I started this podcast long before I had all of the tools. In fact, I started in my office at my former job. It was just a room that I threw some lights up, turned my overhead lights off, threw a camera on, and started talking. That's where this began. And then I was on my bike ride today. It was 40 degrees. So I decided to leave spin class and start outside again. And I'm back on the road, which is so exciting because I love road biking. I love the movement. It's not just the action of spinning. That's fun too, but it's the movement. I like the breeze in my face. I like seeing different things. I like experiencing different things. And during this ride, I had a very stark impression. My business partner and I, we just LLC'd. We just created our entity, and we got our bank accounts yesterday and got things set up for this new project that we're doing. It launches in 2 weeks. So excited for that to take place. And it is so easy when you're about to do that to think, oh man, there's the finish line. I finally made it. The finish line's here. But then it dawned on me, all the trials, all the tribulations, all the practice, all the learnings, that was practice for the race to start. For those that don't know, I did an Ironman once in my life. I wanted to do one, and I felt it was a bucket list item for me. I wasn't racing, I was competing against my own mind. So what did I do? I set the plan. Boop. I executed the plan. The plan was to hit an Ironman in the next, let's see, this was September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, 6-7 months away. So 7 months out. What do I need to do? I need to learn to run distance, a full marathon. I need to learn how to swim distance greater than the doggy paddle. And I need to learn how to road bike distance, 112 miles. And I needed to buy a bike. I didn't even have one. And so I set on that path and I went to do it. And I will tell you what, I knew training was tough. I knew training was going to be difficult. I also said, okay, I'm basically doing, having never raced something like this, to racing what is considered one of the hardest races and endurance things you can do in a 24-hour period. A full distance triathlon, and there's varying degrees of that, right? But go from basically no race to race in 6 months. I knew training was going to be rigorous, and I also knew I didn't have the time available. Traditionally, you work out 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sometimes 1 day of rest is routinely in there. But I didn't really have that kind of time. I really only had an hour or two, traditionally 2 hours a day. So what did I do? I ran hills, mountain hills. I road biked and mountain biked hills, and I sprinted with swimming, getting all the proper gear necessary for success. Kind of like I said earlier, right? Having proper gear to perform at my best. Those routines and those workouts and those training sessions were arduous. Lots of tears, lots of pain, lots of growing pains. I had pains in muscles that I hadn't utilized in that capacity, sometimes ever. And it was hard. But it paled in comparison to the type of pain I had on race day. I didn't think I'd get emotional thinking about that. I had so much pain on race day on mile 107, probably. So much so that I started falling behind the pack. And a very kind soul laid back and let me draft behind him to help me finish the race. Could I have done it alone? I don't know, because I didn't know the route. I didn't have those fancy Garmins that told me the route. I didn't know. I was just following the pack. And if the pack left me, I would not have known where to go. But some kind soul sat back and helped me. The marathon, by about mile 20, holy crap. The amount of pain I was in is indescribable. But my wife showed up. I didn't know my wife was coming. My parents were supporting me on this journey. They were the SAG vehicle for my bike ride. And they were there cheering me on as I passed them for the marathon portion, because we did a specific there and back route. And then my wife showed up and walked with me the last few miles. And then I hobbled into the finish line 15 hours later. 12,000 calories burned. And I was thinking about this on my bike ride today. I was climbing hills today, out on the road climbing hills, and it was awesome. But on one of these hills, I was thinking about the pain and the trial and the effort in the training to lead to game day, to lead to the race. And the pain in the race was so much more acute. But it was in the preparation that yielded success. And had I not done all of that work before, for an extended period of time, 6 months, every day, I'm not sure I would have succeeded on race day and made it to the finish line. I'm sure I would have, but it would have taken a lot longer than 15 hours, I'll tell you that. The point I'm getting at is you are currently in your training stages. The race has not begun. All the learnings, all the trials, all the tribulations, all the chaos, that's the stuff coming during your training, in the preparation. And it is because of the preparation you have done, because of this hardship you have endured to this point, it will allow you to have the strength to endure race day. You see, my business starts in 2 weeks. And that means I hit start line. I'm not finishing anything. I'm not finishing a race. I've been merely preparing for this entire time. And just as said before with the adversary, it's in movement, there's life. It is very, very difficult to hit a moving target. You keep moving. There is no failure. There is only feedback. Your thoughts precede your actions, and your actions precede the opportunities. Stop waiting around for the opportunities in order to take action. Start taking action. Messy, dirty action. It doesn't matter. Just move forward. I needed an office door for my office. I got rugrats, man. I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And without an office door, it is their playroom when dad is in there, especially when I'm working on my computer. So previous times when we lived in this house before, I had a separate keyboard for my sons to play with while I was working away. They felt it was really cool to be with dad while dad was working. So I needed to put office doors on. I didn't have the finances to hire somebody to do it. Therefore, I figured it out myself. I called a buddy that had a Sawzall. We pulled away 2x4s from the built-in entryway because it has multiple 2x4s. And I installed a double door. Is it perfect? Nope. Is it straight? Nope. Does it work? Absolutely. And I primed it last night, and I was putting the casing on Saturday, a couple days ago. And I'm like, dang, we kind of sucked at this. Clearly, we're not professionals. And then I was priming it last night after caulking it yesterday, and I'm seeing all the gaps and all the imperfections. I'm like, man, at least it works. And my wife's looking at it, and she says, I see a perfectly functional door. I don't see all the flaws you see because you're so close to it. I just see a door to your office that functions and works and looks good. I see all the imperfections because I'm so close. Perhaps you're seeing all the imperfections because you're so close. Take an outsider's perspective. Step back a little bit. See what you've accomplished. Look back and see how far you've come. You've come a long way. But there is still a long way to go and so little time to get there. You do not have time to be stagnant. After all, therein lies death. You only have time to sprint. That whole statement, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon, I think is a stupid statement. If you've ever seen marathon runners, I recently watched the New York Marathon because I had a buddy competing in it. So I supported him and I watched it. And they got a pretty cool setup because I can watch all kinds of cameras in all different places. And I'll tell you what, those marathon runners were sprinting. They were sprinting the 26.2 miles. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And by the way, you sprint in a marathon. You must focus on those things that will move you forward, and you must take action. Where you focus, you find, aka your thoughts. And it's those thoughts where you're focusing that leads to action, and that action leads to opportunity. I am telling you this from experience. I am telling you this with a surety and a knowledge because I can look back over the last lot of years. I really started this journey with intention in 2016, 8 years ago. I was unintentionally on this journey for many years before that, but I was very intentional on this journey 8 years ago. And to see where I've come is mind blowing. I am grateful for you. I love you. I hope you know that. I hope you can feel that. And I hope you know you can reach out to me. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions, your concerns, any of them. I'm easy to find, Mr. Brad Draper. Leave me a review on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, wherever you listen to this thing. Like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.